Thank you very much, Mary Frances. It's great to be here. I asked them to put up this picture because that's me standing at the big model UN conference we just held in the UN General Assembly. 3,000 really powerful young people who came together representing their countries and learning to take their first step on the diplomatic journey that we all take as we learn to be citizens of the world. It was so exciting, and I just love this guy because there he was holding the I love Ban Ki-moon sign. And you just thought, this is great, this is why we're all here. And also to be a strong American voice, and that's the other reason we're all here. And I want to say thank you to all of you because I know that's the role you play every day in your communities. It's great you're going to play it today and all this week on Capitol Hill with your members of Congress. And we couldn't be more grateful that you are helping us build the strongest, largest, and most powerful cadre of pro-UN Americans in the world. So we are proud to be developing that, and thank you for all what you're doing. I think, as Mary Frances said, I've been at the UN Foundation for 10 years, and I've been really proud to see the UN support in the country growing. I think you heard from our pollsters this morning and really heard how deep and ingrained the appreciation for working with the UN is, understanding its value in the world and particularly its strategic value to the United States. So we need to work on getting that message out all the time, and we love hearing back from you about what's working and what's not working. I heard you did some speed dating over the weekend, sharing your ideas on your programs, and that was a really successful thing, and I'm kind of eager to hear which ones really resonated with everybody. I've got a couple things I want to do, but I first want to say thank you to a couple people. First is you've had one great keynoter already, Kieran Dwyer from the Department of Peacekeeping Operations. I heard he was terrific, and I think you're going to hear from Kristen Hetla from UN Women this afternoon, two of our strongest UN partner allies, and so I'm glad that they were able to be here to share their thinking with you. I want to thank the UNA-USA Council of Chapters and Regions Steering Committee and the annual meetings subcommittee. Thanks for all you've done to make this probably one of our most successful visits. And Karen Mulhauser for your leadership always. We can't say enough to say thank you to you. And of course, I want to thank all of you for coming. And then I want to thank one other person, and this one's no surprise, it's Patrick Madden. You know Patrick has done a superb job of the transition from UNA 2 years ago to UNA today. And he's done it with grace, he's done it with professionalism, he's done it with passion. And I want to reassure you that as we look forward, those are three qualities that I'm committed to finding in our next leader. Patrick did a remarkable job of helping bring that transition forward, of making UNA a strong and strategic asset of the UN Foundation. He's done a phenomenal job of making sure the brand was strengthened. I've been really proud that under his tenure we've put new chapters in place in some pretty incredible places like Miami and Silicon Valley, and that we've really built a strong and consistent voice for UN support throughout the country. So I hope you will all join me in saying thank you to Patrick and wishing him all the best. I told him, the archives is maybe the only other place I'd want to work too. It's a great place, and so we'll all be here next year, and he'll take us on a tour, hopefully. And I just want to reassure you that Peter and my and others' commitment to making sure that the next leadership for UNA is as strong as it has been under Patrick. We will be conducting a full and thorough search. We've already had over 100 applications. That tells you something about the positive nature of that position and why people want to take it on. And to reassure you that in the process and in the transition, Mary Frances will be leading the charge, and I couldn't be happier because I must say I see her as often as I see Patrick, and I know she's been deeply engaged in everything from membership building to our annual dinner to thinking through the overall positioning of UNA within the foundation. So I'm certain we will not skip a beat, and the rudder will be steady, and we'll look forward to communicating with all of you as we go through this process. I know some of you have already suggested some names. That's fantastic. And any other thoughts are welcome. You can certainly email Peter or me, and we'll be happy to hear from you. I want to make another announcement, and I made it earlier this morning at the White House, and this goes to another role that I think is so critical for UNA to be playing at this particular time. So as you probably have been reading and hearing about, the next 2 years is going to be full of discussion of what the post-2015 development framework is going to look like. We've had a tremendous success in the last 13 years with the Millennium Development Goals. You may remember when they were created in the year 2000, nobody quite knew what they were. They were done in a back room, but they got the support of all the member states. And for the next 13 years, we've been dealing with actually the creation of a very strong brand, to the point now that major companies, individuals, organizations, and countries themselves have identified their work on development through the lens of the Millennium Development Goals. That's a powerful, powerful tool. And as a result, we've seen real progress. We've seen a dramatic 40% reduction in child deaths. We've seen a 50% reduction in maternal deaths. We've seen girls particularly engaged in primary school. We still have some work to do in secondary school. We see real steps toward gender equity. So we know that a lot of good things have resulted because we set goals. Under those goals were targets and indicators. Countries could develop plans to meet them, and citizens could hold everyone accountable. We also learned that the Millennium Development Goals were a powerful tool for partnership. So there was a recognition in the same 13 years that no longer were issues of poverty and sustainability and progress simply the realm of governments. In fact, it requires all three sectors, governments, nonprofits, and corporate, and a fourth sector, which is what we all deal with every day, the citizens, and ensuring that they have both a place at the table and a voice in what's going to come next. So as we look ahead, where is the best place for us to engage? Well, the UN itself, through UNDP, which has run maybe 100 consultations to date around the world, thematic, regional, country-led, has said we need to have consultations in this country as well. And we know we do, because US support for the MDGs is critical. So at a meeting today where the US government opened up its support for our panel, for the high-level panel's report to this SG, I announced that UNA will be leading 10 consultations throughout the US over the next year and a half. This is a really exciting opportunity for us. We'll do it in consultation and partnership with Save the Children. I know that's a strong organization in many of your towns as well. We look forward to a healthy competition among chapters for those 10 slots. And we know that while there will be 10 that we really focus our attention on, hopefully the material we'll develop for these consultations will be materials that everyone can share, build on, and use in their own communities. When we look at 2015 and say, who is the child being born that year and what will his or her life be like in 2030? We know this is a conversation we all need to be part of. Will he or she be in school and have had the benefits of education? Will he or she have had quality and adequate medical access to medical care? Will their governments be strong enough to ensure that poverty is being reduced in their countries? And will they be taking care of the planet? These are all issues we should care about. They're all issues that young people need to care about. So I think we have a really big opportunity as an organization to help lead and guide this discussion, both in this country and providing guidance to the UN. The next steps that are going to happen on this, maybe you've heard a little bit about this process from others, but there will be a 2-year conversation that's taking place. The next big step is something called the Open Working Group. This came out of the Rio Plus 20 conference last year. The goal was to come up with sustainable development goals. We're going to continue to have the Millennium Development Goals, but in truth, it was time. Our world has changed quite a bit, and we needed to recognize that the goals have to take into account not only economic development, but social and environmental. These three things have to be integrally linked. When you have a chance to read the high-level panel report, I think you'll find it very inspiring to see a world in which inequality is addressed, in which there are zero goals, assuming that everyone in the world should have the same opportunities, and universality, which means we all have our part to play. So we look forward to having this conversation with you in depth going forward. Let me just say one or two more words. Since you've all known me over time, I've been to some chapters, and I know we've had good conversations about women and girls and climate and energy and some of the work we've been doing. I want to say thank you to all of you who've supported some of our campaigns like Nothing But Nets and Shot at Life and Girl Up. I want to say two things about my taking over as president and CEO. First is that I'm grateful to Tim Worth, who is staying involved. He's become the vice chairman of our board, so hopefully you'll see him and hear his strong leadership and voice on an ongoing basis. Second, I think as the board turned to me to take over as president and CEO, there were two messages. One was continuity. We are totally committed to our ongoing priorities of supporting the U.S.-UN relationship, as well as women and girls, climate change and energy, and global health. Those will stay. But I'm very interested in how we do them more effectively, how we partner with new and emerging potential partners, how we bring the innovations of technology and young people into our work, and how we work to make sure that you and we together can really make a difference. So I'm excited about this next 5-year period. I think the world is looking at a lot of questions, and so should we be, in terms of how we make problem solving a chief focus. I'm very excited that the foundation has a special and unique role with the UN. We are delighted that the Secretary General is in Denver this week, and we know that we as an institution have an opportunity to continue to help him and his top people visit places in the United States and carry that message out, as well as helping bring our message forward. And I just want to say I look forward to working with all of you in the coming years. So thank you for being here, and I'd be happy to take a few questions.